you and Bill, and I can sort of get Maury there, but it's going to be very brief.
But I like what you just said then about all these rich people who don't stop to help a wounded man, a beggar on the street, a homeless person is they're sick. They're adjusted to a sickness and thinking in complacency that they're normal and we've got Jesus and God. These are even Christian, but they're insane because the Bible says pure religion is to help the widows and the fatherless. And no church is doing it. In fact, the Australian government is helping the poor more, even if they steal from the rich and give to the poor.
I saw in somewhere, I think it was in Victoria, okay? Some bloke had a Jesus sign.
Yeah, and he got almost arrested. Oh, watching
and he
it.
stood there and argued with the cops.
Yeah. And they said, show me the proof.
Well, because of the bylaw. And he said, I don't recognise the bylaw. And they said, well, we do, because it's our
Sydney
job.
Harbour and all those places.
The bylaw, it's a bylaw.
Yeah.
I said, but hang on, this is Australia. No, but there's a bylaw.
Yeah.
The council, the local fucking government.
And he keeps going around all these different places and getting removed.
Yeah.
And the guys claim to be Christian. He said, you're wishy-washy church-goer Christian. And what would Jesus do? Why would you want me to remove? I'm here to preach about Jesus. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The thing is, mate, you see, as Apostle Paul did say, I know he went against the red letters and he's probably an imposter, but the thing is, it's not what goes in the body, what comes out of the body, right? And it's not a sin to have a bit of weed or a smoke or whatever. But if you want to overcome it for medical reasons, you got to understand that you can't be wishy-washy and start worshipping a false Jesus or false God or a Mormon God or whatever, or Mother God. You have to be strong, but then again, you can have it any time you want. It's not a matter of getting to heaven. It's got nothing to do with salvation. It's just a matter of you need to be strong and aggressive and bold if you want to go days or weeks or months. Remember, I went 3 months without it. Man, it was almost sent me crazy. But the thing is, you can't just sit back and become a Hindu or a wishy-washy type of Christian and say, oh, I don't. See, Hindus don't have stimulant, coffee, nothing. They're a bit like the Mormon.
See, they're all in the bag of everybody thinks they've got the answer.
Yeah, lighten people looking down on a beggar on the street.
Yeah, bucket of shit.
Yeah,
whether it's the Catholics, the Hindus, nothing.
No, they're just getting complacent in their own.
I've been here 66 years. I didn't cause this.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But I can see it.
Yeah.
And I can be realistic and objective and thinking, well, nothing is working.
Yeah.
Everything is bullshit. Everything that everybody's got to say is just bullshit because I can see.
Yeah, and all that abstaining and fasting and detachment, and not helping the poor.
And all that enlightenment and philosophy and teachings and the gurus and the priests.
Exactly.
And it's worse than ever.
It's worse than ever because it's not fixing the world.
No.
At all.
They haven't.
No.
They didn't get off their ass and fix the world. They just,
understood.
Looked after themselves.
Yep, and even if they're really healthy and vegetarian, whatever, but they're still not doing anything. It's weak. It's strong. They may be strong in overcoming addiction and.
So what good is it?
What good
doing to the world? With life.
Yeah.
The expression of life. It's just hiding it.
Yeah. No, I've seen you in action. I've seen how you've just pull out $20 and give to a poor person. But then you got blessed once. You went busking in Fremantle when someone gave you $20. I gave $50 once, and guess what happened? A couple of days later, I found it blowing in the wind.
Yeah.
I got it back. But it doesn't always happen, but still, yeah.
So, you didn't have to go to the doctors or anything over there?
I was almost going to the hospital, and the friend that I had, he was possessed, he was desperate to go to the hospital, and I said, no, you've been overdosed, something in that friggin' cookie or something. And this, my friend was really scared, and he was an everyday bong smoker, and he said, shit, we're never going to touch this shit again in Thailand. So you never know, and there's a lot of reports about people go over there, first time ever, families, everything, they have this shit and they have a bad experience. So it's not worth it.
Did you stay with him till the end?
Oh, yeah.
Did he have any more?
No, never touch it again. He gave it up. He said, never again. He said, that's what it caused the demonic realm to open up like that. Alcohol doesn't do that, but it can cause you to have accidents and things.
What about those poor girl fucking tourists? Drank that
shit
dodgy and they died.
Yeah. See, overseas things, see. It probably wouldn't have affected you. I might have.
Yeah, but they died. Two lovely girls.
I know.
Died. It must have been terrible. The pain they must have been inside themselves, dying. Organs dying. It must have been terrible. It wouldn't have just been falling asleep. It isn't just an overdose. Their organs shut down. So the pain they would have been going through inside themselves.
Well, I will never touch a cookie again over there. I don't care if it's the lowest dose. You don't know what's in it.
So, did you get a massage?
One massage. That's all I had, and just a normal massage.
Nice one?
Oh, it was hard work. I gave her a 100 baht tip, which is only about $5. No, I had a normal massage. It's okay.
So, what did you do most of the time?
Well, as soon as I got out of that bloody cursed area, I went to church, and the pastor's lovely, he's from Las Vegas, and first thing he said, who rose himself from the dead in 3 days? He said he was the temple, and the Jews thought it was a building. He said, Jesus! And he said, if Jesus could raise himself from the dead, he's God. Then he talks about Mormon God, all these other gods that are not Jesus, and Jesus became a God. He said, how the hell do you cast out friggin' demons if Jesus has lessened the divinity? And the moment he said that, the demon left me, because I still was under the influence. See, I couldn't shake it, man. Yeah, and I love that pastor now. I went up to him and he put his hand straight on my shoulder and he blessed me, right? And said, Jesus is God. Right, the people were a bit sleepy because they were immigration officers and all these people working in Thailand, but he was a great pastor. And I come back with a conviction. You can't water it down. And that's why I choose Papa John now. He's whatever. And he doesn't demand tithing. He said there's nothing wrong with money if you attract it to help the poor. He said nothing wrong with that. If you could really have the faith and God gives you that money, you help the poor. But he does ask for a bit of a donation because he makes these fantastic videos. He believes in the roaring of the spirit, like a lion, like an eagle or a marine creature or whatever in Enoch's time.
Now, as far as I'm concerned, it's another gum flapper. Hey, look, look. If he's talking about Jesus and he's talking about faith, well, that can't be a bad thing, right?
It's not a bad thing.
Hey, the UFO thing has gone off.
Yeah, I've just been talking about that.
Yeah. Really, like more than ever.
Well, we know that Satan's creatures.
Ships,
they're everywhere.
Crafts, everywhere.
They're here to deceive us, to take us away from.
There's something going on.
Yeah, of course.
There is something going on this year. Something might happen this year.
Wow.
Maybe we're very close.
Yeah.
An apophis is on the way.
And then people will be off their phones then because there'll be an internet cut. And even churches, satellite cut, and everybody will have to go in like the Gnostics and the Essenes go. Then they'll have to go into private sort of.
There's one thing: if we get the 3 days of darkness, don't go outside.
Yeah, you said that. Yeah, because that. Yeah.
If you wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning and it's dark outside, lock your door.
Yeah. There's bloody 7-foot bloody scorpion demons flying around.
And they'll pretend to be someone, like even me, they'll pretend to be my voice. Kirky, it's me, come in, me, Daryl.
Yeah.
Don't open your door.
Yeah. This is during the tribulation.
No, this is coming up soon.
This.
Yeah, soon. This is before any of that. Remember, because there are things that happen, they don't ever talk about it. They always, but they forget that I've read the Bible.
I thought it was only during the tribulation.
There are things that are going to go on.
Yeah.
Before the tribulations, okay?
Yeah.
Things are going to go on. So people are going to be woken up.
Yeah.
Okay, and the 3 days of darkness is pretty well documented. Don't go outside.
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah. Yeah.
And the only houses that will have a bit of light will be the children.
They will look human, but they actually...
But apparently there's going to be all sorts of nasty shit walking around.
Did you know I walked into a bank once? Mum was there. I never told you this, I don't think. But I was paralysed. I couldn't move. You know how, like, okay, let's prove this. I go up and talk to that person. I couldn't move. I was frozen. This woman was green. She was a human, green, and when I saw her eyes, mate, lizards.
Yeah.
Flashing. And I couldn't move.
Yeah.
She walked, I don't know what she'd do in the bank. She walked in, she didn't go to the bank. She went in the bank and then walked out and she was looking at me. And her eyes were like fire and slits. I says, green. And I understand carrot juice will make you orange. And she walked out.
Sure.
And Mum was right with me and I couldn't speak. I was just looking at this
Mum
thing.
didn't notice anything?
No one else saw it but me. Yeah.
Remember I saw one, I told you?
At the fair, at the psychic fair. Yeah.
I saw her, man. She's just like, oh, shit.
But you were actually talking to her.
Oh, I didn't
talk to her?
Yeah, I started to communicate, but as soon as she did the morphing thing, I got out of there.
Got out of there, yeah. Yeah, they're everywhere. But anyway, I suppose they got a certain law because God could destroy them in an instant and all these UFO demon things. Maybe they've got certain laws. Some of these aliens are here to protect the planet because they say we come from them.
That's what I mean. There's so many stories, isn't there? That like.
And you got silly old Tom Cruise and the Scientology worshipping these reptilian things. My goodness.
And you've got the flat Earth people. Okay.
Oh, not there.
And not only have you got the flat Earth people. You've got the hollow Earth people.
Yeah.
So you can't have a flat Earth and a hollow Earth. If it's flat, it can't be hollow. It can't be a big hollow ball, can it, if it's flat?
Well, the moon is supposed to be big hollow.
Yeah, but you know how like they're convinced it's flat, and there's other people convinced that it's hollow and all the aliens living inside the Earth?
Yeah.
Well, it can't be flat then.
No. That's just clickbait.
That's what so they've all got kind of a story.
Yeah.
It's flat. No, it's not. It's round. Oh, you know. Yes. Do you remember Life of Brian?
Yeah.
Do you remember that bit where they're sitting on these steps and there's one group of people, like half a dozen people sitting there, and one bloke sitting by himself, and he says, "Who are those people?" And they go, "We're the People's Front of Judea," and and he goes, "Well, who's him?" "Well, he's the Judean People's Front. He's a splitter." You know what I mean? Instead of the People's Front of Judea, he's the Judea's People's Front.
Who was Jesus?
Just changed, no, but they just changed, instead of, they were the People's Front of Judea, believing that, okay? But he was the Judean People's Front.
Yeah.
In other words, just changed the words around, but had a different story.
Took the divinity out of it,
No, not that. It's like the fact that he just called himself something different.
Yeah.
And started a new thing, and they called him Splitter. You know, it just, all he did was just change their name. Instead of the People's Front of Judea, he decided to start a new group called the Judean People's Front.
Oh, I gotcha.
You know what I mean?
See, the Essenes teach that Jesus did. The Essenes, the followers of the way, first century teachings with Jesus and his brother James, taught that Jesus came to restore Judaism from its bullshit and animal blood sacrifice, and they said that God did not command his son to be sacrificed, needed blood and murder for our sins. He said Jesus volunteered. Well, where the Gnostics come along and say, well, God is a demiurge for suffering and all this sort of thing. And the Buddhists come along and say they don't believe, they escape the suffering. So So Paul come along with lip service, sinner's prayer, and the thief on the cross had none of that, baptism, tithing, he got saved. Okay. And Paul went against the red letters, and Jesus said, why call me Lord if you're not a doer of my word? Love God, love your neighbour, that's it. And all those other commandments by what do we call it? The Torah and all that, he's made up. And Jesus said to the Essenes that was all bullshit, that I did not command those laws. All you have to do is love God, love your neighbour, love yourself, and thou shalt not kill. That was it. Not even an animal for sport, except for survival. And pray over it too.
See, there are all, so many of them are all sort of hung up on this idea of Satan being a fallen angel, okay?
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
But I just can't accept that.
Yeah, heaven corrupt itself.
Especially when Jesus said he was a liar from the start and there was no truth in him from the beginning. Does that sound like the covering cherub, the high royal angel? No, he's a liar from the start. No truth in him from the beginning.
Yeah, so evil in heaven doesn't make sense. Yeah.
No.
And people would choose the version of the glorified son of the morning.
So it makes sense that Sludge Boy's put that story out there to give himself credibility. And Enoch talked about Sophia.
Did Enoch talk about Sophia?
Remember, I sat here.
He's my favourite prophet.
And I read the book of Enoch looking for one thing.
Yeah, that's right.
Until that point where he mentioned Sophia and I shut the book and that's all I needed to know.
Wow.
Remember?
That's right, yeah.
Why is Enoch talking about Sophia?
Wow. Oh.
So that's what I mean. But while all this talk is going on, we've got fucking homeless people.
Yeah. Yeah.
My mission is it's my mission.
Yeah.
It's all of our mission, but it's my mission. That's what I'm worried about. That's what I'm concerned with.
Yeah.
I don't give a rat's about any of their stories anymore.
Yeah.
Okay, because as far as I'm concerned, they've all failed. In reality, any government, anywhere in the world, any government that has homeless people in its jurisdiction, that government has failed. Yeah. Right? They need to be replaced by other people because they're not doing their job. If they've got homeless people, they've failed.
Yeah.
Right? This is all I can see. I refuse to look at anything else because anything else is bullshit. If we've got homeless people suffering and they can be helped, nothing else means anything. Yeah. Doesn't mean anything. Yeah. It's just all bullshit.
Yep.
And I do not feel, even if I'm the only person in the world thinking like this, at least there's one person. Yeah. I am not sick. I might be broke, but I'm not sick. You with me?
Yeah.
I'm not sick.
No.
All these people that are talking about all this stuff, they're sick.
Yeah. Oh, of course, the world would want to make you sick and feel like a loser. Because persecution and the remnant, they're not rich. And all these rich pastors and prophets and false prophets.
They're all sick.
They're all sick. Yeah. And
and there's not one.
And Enoch, again, he talked about it, and even Papa John follows Enoch, absolutely follows it, and said that the Melchizedek of the Enoch type of Melchizedek had nothing to do with the Levitical Melchizedek law, and completely separate to it. So all these laws that came through the Torah was completely against what Enoch was preaching. And all those laws, it didn't fix the problem. It left people...
Yeah, it kind of started to go downhill during the Deuteronomy period.
Yeah.
And, it got so bad that one of the tribes, they were so disgustingly sinful, like Sodom and Gomorrah, that the rest of the tribes kicked them out. A whole tribe of Benjamin. They were so decadent, like living like Sodom and Gomorrah, that the other tribes cut them off.
Talking about tribes, let's look at this, mate. The black man coming out of Africa, like Pastor Papa John, is from the tribe of Ham. And what is Ham known for? The son, Ham, lusted after his own father who was naked. It was a cursed race. The Mormons say it was a cursed race of blacks, And yet Ham is the strongest and more closer to now preaching Enoch, repentive, They've done some pretty wicked things, battles and things. But they've come forth realizing the curse upon the man And the Western world, listen to this, the Western world, all this slavery in America was never commanded by God, but there was some slavery in the Bible because woman was sacrificing the little infants, throwing them down volcanoes, woman rape, so God took them out. God actually took them out. They were better off dead. They were just going to live a life. You remember Mohicans? The last of the Mohicans, that movie? And the beautiful, virtuous English daughter of this woman just backed off over a cliff and fell because the Mohican king was going to rape her that very night. He'd already raped the mother, and she said, you're not going to take my virtue. And she just died, and he was sad. He said, oh no, I missed out on having sex with this beautiful English. Because they went in as like preaching this Protestant thing, you know. Yeah.
I'm going to get that.
Right. Okay.
Hello, is that you, Grace?